Is the carnivore diet enough to have a diverse microbiome? What are your thoughts?
Well, you can ask the Inuit, and people have done studies on them when they're eating just meat, and they find out actually they have an extremely diverse and healthy microbiome. In fact, I've spoken to experts on the microbiome, and they say they love the carnivore diet because you get such a healthy gut bacteria, and that's what a lot of people are finding. Moving to a carnivore diet later in life, not being born into it, like some populations, some lucky bastards are, and they're finding that they're massively improving the health of their microbiome. In fact, there was we're seeing this just all over the place, and many people are publishing this. Dr. Ken Berry has published this. Benazati's published this. Dr. Sean O'Mara has published this, and in fact, Dr. Sean O'Mara, his microbiome was so good that the president or whomever of the company that he used to test his microbiome personally called him and said, "You have the best microbiome our company has ever tested. What the hell are you doing?" He's like, "All right, I'll tell you." And Benazati, who's been doing a clean, omnivorous, ketogenic diet, so high-fat, meat-based, but with vegetables, fruits and vegetables and all that sort of stuff, with all this lovely fiber and blah, blah, blah. And he'd been doing it for years. And so he checked his microbiome, and he said it was good, but it wasn't great. And then the recommendations were that he should eat less meat, eat less red meat in particular, and eat more fruits and vegetables and fiber. And so he said he did the exact opposite and stopped eating all fiber and pretty much only ate red meat. 3 months later, he said his microbiome was exemplary. It had improved dramatically in every category, and that it actually showed up that had 6 new species of microbe that were extremely healthy that showed up that weren't there before. So he's like, okay, explain that one. Where'd those ones come from? So we are seeing a lot of improvements. The other thing we should always remember is that our understanding of the microbiome is still in its infancy. I worked with an anesthesiology and an intensivist here in Australia who works in the ICU, runs the ICU, and very bright guy, very nice gentleman, and but his main work really is studying the microbiome. And he, as of 2019, he had over 200 peer-reviewed publications on the microbiome. And speaking to him about that, he said that once we figure out, how the hell the microbiome works and how to improve it, we will really be able to do a lot, with people's health, and we'll really know a lot about medicine. Once we understand. Right. So this is a guy who's published over 200 papers on the subject. And he's saying, we don't understand this yet. We don't know how to manipulate it. We don't know how to improve it. We don't even know what improved necessarily looks like. We're just figuring this stuff out. It's still very much in its infancy. So if that guy has the humility and the knowledge to say, look, we really don't know enough about this yet to make any definitive statements. No one else should be making that statement either. But what we do see in the studies that have been done with native populations like the Inuit is that the microbiome is extremely healthy, and that when people go to a meat-only diet, ours become extremely healthy, which would make sense. If we're eating what we're designed to eat, we should have the microbiome and oral biome that we should have. This is something that we notice too when eating carbohydrates, and we know about sugar, but it's all carbohydrates. All carbohydrates are sugars. Carbohydrates are sugars, right? Complex sugars or simple sugars, etc. But they're sugars. And the bacteria that eat the sugars are the ones that cause cavities in humans. Okay, so if your teeth are rotting out of your head, probably not eating the right thing. I mean, what animal in nature has rotten teeth? Typically none, because if you lose your teeth, you lose the ability to eat and you die, right? You can't fight off predators. You can't defend yourself. You can't, get mating rights necessarily. You can't eat is the main thing, right? You lose your teeth, you lose the ability to eat, and you die. So koalas, for instance, they don't, regrow their teeth. And so they grow their teeth once and then they get worn down to little nubbins. And it's a very tough, fibrous plant, eucalyptus. And so eating this their whole life, they typically don't, just die of old age and fall over and whatever. They go until they wear their teeth down to nothing, and then they starve to death. It's not really a nice way to go. So when your teeth don't work and your teeth rot out of your head, you're done. And the teeth of animals, even though they're dirty, they don't have dentists. They're, crocodiles just sitting there in swamp water with its mouth open. Like, come on. If their teeth are going to rot out, they're done. Okay, so why are our teeth rotting out? Why are we having so many dental problems? Because we're eating the wrong things. And so we have the wrong oral biome as well. And so, by extension, we probably have the wrong microbiome, because the bacteria in your mouth get into the food that you chew up and then swallow. And some of that can possibly bypass the noxious stomach acid that we have and get passed into your lower intestine. So that's probably where Ben's 6 new microbes came from, which is probably from his oral biome. And, so that makes sense. What you eat is going to feed the bacteria in your body, either in your mouth or in your intestine. And so if you're eating the food that you're designed to have, you should be feeding and promoting the bacteria that you are designed to have as well. So it makes perfect sense that that would be the case.
I want to ask you about blood sugar. Some people have a persistent increase in blood sugar when they do a carnivore diet. Some people's blood sugar drops, which is normal and fine. Why is it that some people have an increase in blood sugar persistently?
Hey guys, just want to take a second to thank our sponsor, Carnivore Bar. I don't promote many products because honestly, all you need to be healthy is to just eat meat. For those times that you're out hiking, road tripping, or stuck at work and you want a nutritious snack that is just meat, fat, and salt if you want it, the Carnivore Bar is a great option. So I like this product not because it's just pure meat, but also because I want the carnivore market to thrive as well. And the more we support meat-only products, the more meat-only products there will be available in the mainstream. So if this sounds like something you'd like to get behind, check it out using my discount code Anthony to get 10% off, which also applies to subscriptions, giving you 25% off total. All right, thanks guys.
I would have to sort of see them case by case, because it is extremely rare, and it also depends on how you're testing these sorts of things. I've actually never had a patient, and I test hundreds of people's bloods all the time when going on a carnivore diet, and do preliminary blood work when they come in. Then we look at this. Often they're diabetic or pre-diabetic, and we say, okay, look, this is something that is going to be really important to you. Looking into therapeutic carbohydrate restriction, and they may have other sorts of things where I say, well, actually, I think that it would be really important to actually exclude plants as well, especially with autoimmunity, et cetera. And we have large clinical trials in humans showing that ketogenic diets, high-fat, meat-based ketogenic diets, they reverse diabetes. So I've never seen anybody actually have persistently high blood sugar. I've seen people's HbA1c not go down as much as you would, as other people would, and there can be reasons for that, such as persistent stress, poor sleep, stress, these sorts of things. They could also just not actually be doing a ketogenic carnivore diet. They could be including other things in their diet. That would be my first guess, but my patients, I've never seen that. If that were to happen to me, people should understand as well that we do know from clinical data that if you average 5 hours of sleep or less a night for just 7 nights in a row, you will actually give yourself prediabetes. So you'll elevate your blood sugar, and this is due to the cortisol that's released, and the massive amounts of cortisol that's released, and that deranges your metabolism, and you get prediabetes. So I would have to take all of those in a case by case basis. But the first thing I'd be looking at, are you actually eating the way that we discussed? And I always ask, what exactly are you eating? Quite often you'll find some things in there that is just like, okay, well, you need to take those things out, and you take those out and the problem goes away. If, that's a big if, they're actually only eating fatty meat and water, and they're still having persistently high blood sugar, I'd be looking at sleep. I'd be looking at stress as the main focal points. But again, I really haven't seen that in anybody clinically. And they're finding that they're massively improving the health of their microbiome. In fact, there was, we're seeing this just all over the place, and many people are publishing this. Dr. Ken Berry has published this. Benazati's published this. Dr. Sean O'Mara has published this, and in fact, Dr. Sean O'Mara, his microbiome was so good that the president or whomever of the company that he used to test his microbiome personally called him and said, "You have the best microbiome our company has ever tested. What the hell are you doing?" He's like, "All right, I'll tell you." And Benazati, who's been doing a clean, omnivorous, ketogenic diet, so